So today I want to talk about something a little bit more personal, and that is my relationship with science, with academia, and how I chose to do the transition out of academia. When did I realize things are not quite as fulfilling and as they should be at my previous job, and so on. So just a little bit of context, I was the kind of person that thought science would be for me. So I really had this feeling of, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm super curious by nature. I love to do that. I love to find out how things work, how they are functioning, why is it so, and so on. And then of course, the natural path for that was sort of, okay, you go through grad school, PhD, postdoc, then you apply for some positions and so on. But then at some point during my PhD, when I was well into the path of achieving what was then my goal, I realized that something wasn't quite there. And actually that part of research that I thought I loved was something that was not only a burden for me, but it started becoming something that I not only disliked, but I would say I even hated at some point. Because I realized I wasn't that curious, I wasn't that meticulous, I wasn't that intrinsically motivated for finding the core reason why something happens in scientific terms. However, the part that I always kind of knew I liked was teaching, and that was, I believe, since I know the world, since I was very, very young, I had this sense of, okay, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. First it was English teacher, then it was physics teacher, and then I realized it was a university teaching, something more complex, more of in high-level education where I could combine it with research and so on. However, I felt that this part of me was just it wasn't enough. You cannot just teach, of course, because if you want to be a university professor, you have to teach and you have to do research. And I sort of said, okay, I'm going to do research and teaching is going to be more of a side thing for me. However, as I said, as I was moving through my PhD and doing some teaching as a teaching assistant, I realized that this teaching part is something that actually, to express it poetically, sets my soul on fire. It was really not the research thing that moved me, it was more this structured thing. How can I explain something to others so they have the knowledge as well, so they get that part as well. And I found that this was 100% the most satisfying part of my PhD experience. So I was thinking, okay, how can I transition to something more similar? And slowly I started working with STEM professionals, helping them do proposals, do writing, and so on. And I realized that this part of structure, not only communication per se, but also how are we structuring our thinking process before we sit down to write, before we sit down and do the project. How do we structure our thinking before we do something or before we say something? And slowly I realized that this is exactly what I was supposed to do, and actually this is what I'm doing today. I'm helping STEM professionals bring structure to chaos, whether that's in their communication or directly with that, or something more indirectly that is also related to communication, like their work, their projects that are all over the place, they don't know how to put it together, how to bring closure to stuff. This is what I help STEM professionals do when they are, that situation when you have 47 tabs open, when you have 35 papers on your to-read list, when you are just so stuck that you don't know what to do first, what goes where, and how to put it all together. This is what I can help you with. And actually, I'm going to leave a link for a completely free coaching session with me where we can talk about your specific issues, your specific challenges, your specific problems when it comes to bringing some peace of mind to your to-do list, to your schedule, to your time, and all of that without falling into burnout. Completing stuff and making sure they are done in a way that makes sense for you, in a way that is clear to others, so that you can be not only valued for your work, but also rewarded for it. So I hope that you found this video useful. It was sort of my experience, what I did, how I ended up doing what I do, and how I can help you. And as always, see you in the next few days in another video. Bye bye.